We continue now at the top of Daf Vav Amud Aleph and Mesechet Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 6a. On the previous Amud, the Gemara brought the teaching of Shmuel that if two judges issue a ruling, that ruling is considered valid, even if it's considered to be what's called a Bezdin Chatzuf. And the Gemara asked on the previous Amud from a Brisa, and the Brisa of Shimon ben Gamliel clearly says that when two judges issue a ruling, that is not considered to be a valid ruling. And the Gemara continues now and says, V'chiteimen, if you're going to say, Pligi Rabbanan aled Rav Shimon ben Gamliel, we're just asking a question from Rav Shimon ben Gamliel in that Brisa. But the Rabbanan disagree with Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. The Rabbanan hold that when two judges issue a ruling, it is considered to be a valid ruling. But the Gemara says, V'amar Rabbi Avo, but Rabbi Avo says, Shnayim Shadana, when two judges issue a ruling when they judge a case, L'divrei hakol ein dinehem din, everybody agrees. Even the Rabbanan agree that that ruling is not considered to be a valid ruling. And so therefore, according to what Rabbi Avo says, again we have this question, and the Gemara answers, Gavra agavra karamis, are you asking one Amora on another Amora? Really, you're asking from Rabbi Avo. Your question from the Bryce is not a valid question. That's just the Shita of Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. And yes, Rabbi Avo says that L'divrei hakol, when two judges issue a ruling, it is not considered a din, it's not considered a ruling, but that is not what Shmuel holds. And Rashi explains, Gavra agavra Rabbi Avo ad Shmuel. You're trying to ask Rabbi Avo on Shmuel. Shmuel savar pligi Rabbanan led Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. Shmuel simply will say that the Rabbanan do argue on Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. And the Gemara continues, Gufa, returning to what we said above. Amar Rabbi Avo says, Shnayim shadanu dinei mamanis l'divrei hakol, ein dineihem din. If two people issue a ruling when it comes to dinei mamanis, monetary issues, again, according to everyone, according to Rabbi Avo, that ruling is not considered to be a ruling. And the Gemara continues, Eisvei Rabbi Abba Rabbi Avo. Rabbi Abba asked Rabbi Avo the following question. This is from a Mishnah in Bechoros. Dones hadin, if a judge judges a case, v'zikas achayev v'chayev v'sazake, and let's say he gets it wrong, he says the person that's guilty is really innocent, the person that's innocent is really guilty. Timei asator, tir asatame, he says what's pure is actually tame, what's tame is actually pure. Masha asa asoi, so the ruling is considered to be a valid ruling. U'mishalim mibeso, and he has to pay from his own household, he has to pay from his own money for the ruling, which again caused a loss of money to somebody unjustly. And Rashi explains, Dones hadin, again, a single judge judged this case, but mumcha lekel amemer. Now Rashi points out, you cannot say we're talking about an expert judge, because everybody agrees an expert judge is allowed to judge a case alone, but you can't say that's what this Mishnah is talking about. Midaktani Sefer, because the end of the Mishnah says, Im haya mumcha lebezdin, if he was an expert for the courts. Dones hadin, again it says that if he judged a case, yechidi mashma, it sounds like he's judging the case alone, u'mishalim mibeso, and again he has to pay from his household. But Pirkan de Lakaman, later on in our parak, we're going to say, Muki law, Shenasa v'nasan biyad, that he actually took action to take the money away from one and give it to the other. But the point over here is, Midaktani Masha Asa Asi, from the fact that it says that the ruling that he issued is considered effective, Alma Dine Dine, you see that single judge can issue an effective ruling. Di Lo Dina Lahadr, because if it's not considered a ruling, then we should have retracted the ruling. And so therefore, again, this is a question on Rabbi Avo. Rabbi Avo said when two judges issue a ruling, everybody agrees it is not considered to be a valid ruling. And here it's saying that if a single judge issues a ruling, it is in fact considered to be valid. And the Gemara continues and answers, Hacha b'mayaskinon, here in this Mishnah, what are we talking about? The kibluhu alaya. We're talking about a situation where the litigants accepted whatever this judge would say upon themselves. So over there, of course, if they accepted that, then his ruling is considered to be valid. But the Gemara continues, Yachi, if so, amay mishalimi basis. So why does he have to pay from his household? If they're accepting whatever he says, why does he have to pay if he makes an error in judgment? And the Gemara says to that, the Amrulay, because then they can say to him, Dayan to London Torah, did you judge for us according to the laws of the Torah? The understanding is that you're going to issue the ruling properly. If you issue the ruling improperly, you are in fact responsible. And the Gemara continues, Amalei Rav Safra Rabbi Abba. Rav Safra said to Rabbi Abba, well, what exactly is the situation over here where this judge made a mistake? If you're going to say that he made a mistake in terms of something that a Mishnah says, he did not realize the Mishnah says the opposite of what he ruled, but that can't be. But Rav Sheshes says, Amar Ravasi, that Ravasi says that Masoras Hashas has Ravasi instead of Ravami. Ta bidvar Mishnah, if he makes a mistake in a Mishnah, choser, so then you actually do retract the ruling. And over here in this Mishnah it said that the ruling that he issued actually is considered to be a valid ruling, so it cannot be we're talking about Ta bidvar Mishnah. And so the Gemara says, Ella, rather you have to say the Ta b'shikol hadas. What the Mishnah is talking about is he made a mistake in terms of weighing the various opinions. And the Gemara continues, Hey chidami b'shikol hadas, what exactly does it mean, shikol hadas? Amar Rapapa said, says, could go in Trei Tanoi, Utrei Amoroi, the Pligi Hadadi, for example, let's say you have two Tanoim, or you have two Amoroim that are arguing with one another, Velo Itmar Hilchas Alo Kamar, Velo Kamar, and the halach has not been established like one side or the other. Vesugyan Di Alma Aliba Dechan Minayu, however, the general consensus does follow one side. V'azal Iyu V'avar Kidach, and he went ahead and he ruled like the other side. So Hainu Shikol Hadas, that's making a mistake in Shikol Hadas, and that's what the Mishnah is referring to. And the Gemara continues, Lema Katanoi, let us say that this is a Machlokas Tanoim, this Machlokas Shmuel and Rabbi Avo. If two judges issue a ruling whether it's valid or not, let us say that that's a Machlokas Tanoim. The Brisa says, Bitsua Bishlosha, when you have mediation, mediation is like Peshara, it's compromise. If you have mediation, it has to be done with three judges. Divrei Rabbi Meir, these are the words of Rabbi Meir, that's Rabbi Meir's opinion. The Chachamim Omer, and the Chachamim say, Peshara B'yachid, when you have a situation of compromise, it's done by one judge. And the Gemara now says, Savrua, right now we think, L'kuli alma makshinon pshara ladin, that everybody agrees that we compare pshara to a regular court case. This Bryce is talking about mediation, it's talking about compromise, but everybody agrees that that's compared to a normal court case. And my lav, b'hakamiflagi, aren't they arguing in exactly this issue? Demar savar din bishlosha, that one holds a court case is with three judges. Umar savar din bishnayim, and the other one says that a court case can even be with two judges. Again, as we said, when we say two judges, what we really mean to say is that it could really, on a doraisa level, even be done by one judge. And so that's exactly the machlokas over here. When the Chacham say pshara b'yachid, they're really saying a regular court case on a doraisa level can just be one judge. That's what it means, din b'shnayim. And the Gemara says, lo, no, the kuli alma din b'shlosha. Everybody agrees that if it would be a regular court case, a regular ruling that is issued, it's with three judges. V'hacha b'haka miflagi, and here the machlokas is, demar savar makshinan pshara ladin. One holds that we compare pshara to a regular court case. That's the position of Rabbi Meir. That's why that also requires three judges. Umar Savar, the other one holds, Lo Makshinan Pshara Ladin. We do not compare Pshara to a regular court case, and that's why the Chachamim say, even with a single judge is fine. And the Gemara continues, Leima Telosa Tanoi B'Pshara. Well, let us say that there's a three-way Machlokas Tanoim when it comes to Pshara. And Rashi explains, Telosa Tanoi, Pligi B'Pshara. There are three Tanoim that argue about how many judges are needed for a Pshara, for a situation of compromise. Rabbi Meir Savar B'Shlosh. Rabbi Meir in this Brisa we just quoted says you need three judges. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Savar Le'el B'Shnayim. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel said on the previous Amud that you need to have two judges. V'Rabbanan depligi ad Rabbi Meir Sabri b'Yachid, and the Rabbanan who argue with Rabbi Meir over here, they say Pshara b'Yachid. They say a single judge is fine. That's what the Gemara means to say again. Lema tlasa tanai b'Pshara. Demar savar b'Shlosha, that one opinion holds you need three judges. Umar savar b'Shnayim, and another opinion holds you need two judges. Umar savar b'Yachid, and the third opinion holds you need one judge. And the Gemara continues. Amar Ravacha b'Reid Ravika. Ravacha the son of Ravika says V'Tamer Rav Yemer bar Shalmi, and some say Rav Yemer bar Shalmi says, Man do Amar Trey, actually the one who says two judges, Afilu Chad Nami, really is saying that even one judge is sufficient. V'hai de Kamar Trey, and the only reason why he's saying you need two judges, Ki Hechi de Lahava La Sahadi, because we want to have witnesses. We want to have witnesses that can testify to what exactly the ruling was. But that requirement of two is not for the pshara, for the compromise to be considered valid. It's in order to have witnesses who witness what the pshara was. And the Gemara continues, Amar Ravashi says, Shema, we know we see from this, Peshara Eino Tzricha Kinyan, that a Peshara compromise, you don't need to make a Kinyan in order to make that a binding kind of compromise ruling. Disal Gadaitach Tzricha Kinyan, because if it should enter your mind that a Kinyan is required, Laman Damar Tzricha Talasa, according to the one who says that three judges are required, Lamali, why do you need to have three judges? Tiski betray, it should be enough with two judges, Velikani Minei, and then just do a Kinyan, and the Kinyan will make it binding. The question over here is based on the assumption that the reason for needing three judges is because three judges make a ruling a binding ruling. But if you're already requiring a kinyan and that makes it binding, what really is the purpose of the three judges? But the Gemara continues, V'hilchasa, but the halacha is pshara tzricha kinyan, that a pshara does require a kinyan, it actually does need a kinyan in order to be binding. And Rashi explains, Tiski betray, it should be enough with two judges, Velikni minei, and just have a kinyan to make it binding. To kaven to kanu minei, because once they make a kinyan, lamali bezdin, what's the purpose of bezdin? Lote elam atana b'alma, at that point they're making a kinyan, it's just like he's giving him a gift. When we daito, he's doing it with consent, v'himis kayemis, and that would certainly be effective. Elalahachi boinan tlasa, must be the reason we need three, is liyafos koach bezin, to have the strength of a bezin, of a court over here. Diafagav de lo kanu minei lo nahadru, that way even without a kinyan, it's not something that we can retract on. But the Gemara then said, v'hilchas pshara tzricha kinyan, the halacha is that a pshara does require a kinyan, v'afilu nasus b'shlosha, even if it's done with three judges. And the Gemara continues, Tanu Rabban, and the rabbis taught, Kashem Shadin Bishlosha, just like a regular court case is with 3 judges, Kach Bitsua Bishlosha, so too a mediation is with 3 judges, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Vav Amid Beis.